This is a bill that needs urgent attention because it is arguably one of the most egregious pieces of legislation threatening to destroy private property rights, along with extreme risks to energy and food security. So analysis from this government's offshore wind policy direction paper from March 2022 stated that to meet net zero targets using onshore renewables, it could require up to 70% of Victoria's agricultural land to host wind and solar farms. 70% is absolutely an astronomical amount. And one of my concerns is that often when we make bills in this place, there's not that mindset from people that are from farming and agricultural backgrounds. So you look at all the space that we have in Australia, and we can fall into the trap, if we're not careful, of looking at that land as land that has not yet been subdivided for housing builds. But it is so much more than that. Agricultural and farming areas are the areas that feed the state, feed the nation, feed people in other nations, and also build the nation. This doesn't even include the vast amount of land for fast-tracked mineral extraction projects under the government's SERA project, which I've spoken about quite a bit here, that has also been gaining some community pushback. Rather than these meeting the general planning requirements around bird kill and the impact of wildlife, rather than meeting the standards because they didn't, they just changed the guidelines. In Colbinaban, a 700,000 panel solar farm was fast-tracked, despite community opposition in the thousands, including documented threats to the environment, farming lands and increased bushfire risk. The government process was labelled as a whitewash. The proposed lithium battery farm in Little River here in Victoria triggered strong community opposition due to the concerns over transparency, safety and the environmental impact. Developers were accused of misleading planning submissions while warning of damage to the landscape and tourism. Those things were completely ignored. You would have known and seen that lots of locals, including Katrina Roundtree, I don't know if she still is, the former TV presenter, were unaware of the project until it was lodged, bypassing council scrutiny and being classified as because it was classified as a green energy initiative, a fact acknowledged even by the town's mayor. So you cannot have that and then say that you have adequately consulted the community. This is the part that should really worry you if none of the other has, but it is located, the site is located in a bushfire-prone area with a history of deadly fires that now is going to host 372 lithium freight containers, which will take up space, approximately 44 or 45 acres near the Yuyang Regional Park, which is a major tourism destination. It's a huge fire risk, and it is something that is really distressing the community that has called it home for a very long time. This is despite the government blatantly making the false claim, and I quote, "We established VicGrid to make sure communities have a real say on the way transmission and renewable energies projects are planned across the state to ensure certainty for the industry." Like, I don't even need to highlight any of that. Like, just think about that for a minute. It's just absolutely astonishing doublespeak. And it seems to me that there seems to be this pattern of deception that happens. The first thing that it starts off with a pre-prepared plan. That is a foregone conclusion. I like what Ms Barth says. She says it's not called consultation, it's called consultold. And it's like that. There's a foregone conclusion without genuine community consultation outside the elite consultants that they pay tens of millions of dollars to every year. That's step one. Step number two is it sells it as a win for the public good. Haven't we seen this here? It's always, oh, but it's for the greater public good. So anyone who has any concerns gets guilted into it because it's like, how can you put yourself above everyone else? But it leaves huge chunks of relevant information completely outside of the whole consultation process. So number three, once the public see that they were told a lie, it uses the weight of the law to crush them into submission. And we are seeing this with astronomical fines, which well, do I have time to go through it? Yeah, I'll go through it. And in this case, it wants to force access onto land, into private land, with the threat of huge crushing fines to solidify the submission to this. This is people who have, some of these people have been on this land for generations and generations, and their life is about to change. So this makes sense of why the government's second reading for this bill was not even a page long. I heard Ms Lovell talk about this. It wasn't even a page long, but the statement of compatibility filled almost 10 pages. One of the reasons that I became a Liberal was I started to read about what the values, what the basis of liberalism was. And something our founder really spoke about was the importance of home ownership. And he said the material home represents the concrete expression of your habits of frugality and savings for a home of your own. Your advanced socialist, now this is amazing, just like tune into this bit, talk about foresight. Your advanced socialist may rage against private property even when he acquires it. But one of the best instincts in us is that it will induce us to have a little piece of earth with a house and a garden which is ours, to which we can withdraw and we can be among our friends, into which no stranger can come against our will." End quote. That's pretty incredible, but that is not a reality in Jacinta Allen, Victoria. I can't help but bring in a quick comparison of the madness that passes for government policy under this government. In Victoria, serious criminals are allowed to run riot. It's made this place into a criminal paradise, but private property owners and farmers wanting to secure their land, so literally the opposite, and secure their rights to withstand the government's forceful push, will face the fury of the law. That is absolutely unbelievable. Whose interest is this government really representing? So I'm energy agnostic. I believe one of the things that made Victoria a place where people could come and prosper, where manufacturing could thrive, where people could break through and have good farm businesses and really get ahead in life, was actually our cheap, accessible energy. I look at the entirety of the data and its impact on real-world consequences, and this one has some that are absolutely serious. I think that we have to look at this really carefully, and I certainly won't be voting for this bill. Thanks.